Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Wilhelm Screamin'. Welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Lightfall Season of the Witch intel. And this week brought the return of GM Nightfalls and the first time that we're getting to do the new version of the PsyOps Battlegrounds Europa on GM. I believe this is the first time this was available on GM, though I do remember doing this strike previously in another season, and it was very difficult, though I don't believe it was quite as difficult as now. As like all PsyOps Battlegrounds turned GMs, this one is quite the slog all the way through. The boss, though fairly easy on their own, is made very difficult by just the amount of ads you're going to have to defeat. So I will take you through all the parts of this particular strike and all the best cheeses you can use therein. If you're looking to get your hands on one of these, the new version of the Warden's Law Adept. This is by no means the God roll, though this can roll with very good PvP as well as PvE rolls, and is actually, I think, one of the new max damage primaries for bosses. So definitely worth a pickup. The very first section that I think is going to give people the most trouble is just the very first area. It's very open, and like all the areas, there's a lot of ads, but when it's a large room like this, it becomes a little bit more difficult to corral them all. My fire team, big shout out to Bert, Twisted, and Sinister, of course, used this area for the most part, just staying by the door. You can always retreat into the door. However, there is a little out of bounds spot above me and behind me. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for the GM unless you're maybe running it solo, as I wanted to make sure I was fully invis before I actually attempted to get to this spot. But once you're here, it does provide pretty good cover, and you can help your teammates with later rounds of ads, though I wouldn't do it as soon as you enter the room. You can actually get above the map this way and go all the way to the other end, though you can't shoot down at any of the enemies once you're in the gap between the ceiling and, I guess, the ledge where I'm standing here. But you can use this spot to shoot down on enemies, and I do think it could come in handy in the clutch, maybe if all your teammates died, or if you're still on this side of the map, or in the early couple of stages or rounds of ads. The next part is going to be the triple bridge section where you have to descend down. Just a brief note that the two ogres that you have to take out initially will not actually fire at you so long as you maintain a fairly decent distance. You can still, of course, stun them and do damage to them, but this is about as far forward as I found you could actually get without them actually shooting at you. So just keep that in mind. Not a really major problem for the most part, but the next area where you have to actually defeat that main ad in order to regain your supers is going to be a lot more difficult. I had varying degrees of success actually being able to take out the ad from the middle bridge, though for the most part we found that it would just hide and we had to actually descend down a little bit further. You can stay all the way in the back, which is what I would suggest. If you have any healing, Well of Radiance Warlock, which I would suggest having at least one on your fire team if you can, that's a good place to plant a well. And then once you're into the next area through the hallway where you'll get another couple of champions, I did want to make note that the champions do spawn in, though I never found that they were that difficult to actually take out, especially since you could stay in the room opposite of where the laser fence is in order to shoot them. But once you get to this area, the only thing that I would note other than stay back as far as you can until you take out at least the first two barrier champions is that if you take out the wizards too fast, apparently there is an issue where because everything in the room will despawn so long as the wizards are dead, or as soon as the wizards are dead, you can actually screw up a platinum run that way. So maybe just take out at least a couple of barrier champions before you start even thinking about working on the wizards. For the next area, just make sure that you jump up on top to start before you actually go out to either wing and attempt to get more of the lasers in order to take down the runes. And then on to the main section that I wanted to discuss, which is the boss room. Now this is where things get really interesting, because PsyOps Battlegrounds are not really as tightly built as a normal strike boss room. There are many ways out of the actual map in this particular boss room, but the question is whether or not any of them will actually be helpful. Now, the one that I do think will play a role in having a fairly successful run, especially if you are trying to attempt this solo at any difficulty, not necessarily Grandmaster, as that's pretty insane when you're doing a PsyOps Battlegrounds, but maybe one of the lower level difficulties, is this actual pipe area right to the right of the actual entrance. Now you can actually stick all three of your fire team up here, and I would suggest maybe trying this out for the first damage phase, that is until you get to the mid area and you have to actually deposit all the nodes in order to get to the next phase of damage. That's only because when you're here you can shoot at the boss no matter where they warp to, and you don't really have to worry about adds at all, so you can just get through that first phase very easily and very quickly. After that, I would suggest going down to the right side as you see here and just hiding under the stairs. It was the only place that we found consistent for actually doing damage to the boss past the first phase, unless you want to go back and jump up onto the pipe on the right once again. I wouldn't suggest maybe putting all three of your fire team there, maybe one on the left side as well, as you see here. Now this was actually something that I haven't tried in a GM, though I did find after my actual GM runs. And this is a full out of bounds glitch for the whole boss room. This lets you circumnavigate the entire boss room and actually get behind the boss. Again, not sure if this will really be that helpful in a GM, but something to at least keep in mind, and maybe smarter players than myself will actually find the best way to utilize this, as it does give a fairly good shot at the boss. But if you want a safe and proven method, I would definitely say either stick to the pipe to the right of the actual entrance or under the stairs as you see us using here. One other thing that I did want to discuss, and though I don't actually have a clip of this myself, I could actually see how it would work very well if you did want to stay slightly out of bounds or hidden as much as possible, is the hierarchy of needs. Now this particular bow allows you to essentially do a warp of your weapon shot from a different angle to actually hit a particular target. So once you actually hit a target, over time you will build up the ability to hit said target from a vantage point that you wouldn't normally be able to, so essentially shoot around corners. So if you wanted to stay completely out of sight, this might be a possible option if you're trying to maybe get behind the boss like you saw in my clip, or stay up on the top right or top left of the entrance. And that is going to be it for all the information in today's video. Hopefully you found something in this video helpful. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and turn on the bell to post notifications so you never miss out on any future Destiny 2 Lightfall content like this. Remember, you can also follow me on Instagram or Twitter. They'll be linked in the description box down below. Any of those things also enter you into any future giveaways on this YouTube channel, and we do one every 1,000 subscribers, so you never want to miss out. We're also doing another one when we reach 1,000 followers on Instagram, and when we reach 100,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel, we'll be giving away an Xbox Series X. And if you've watched till this point in the video, you can leave a hashtag PsyOps Battlegrounds Europa, or a hashtag Lightfall, or a hashtag Grandmaster Nightfall in the comments section down below for another entry into the next giveaway for this video. And once more, I'm Wilhelm Scream. Thanks so much, and of course, we will see you next time.